Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 10 buffs of Season 26 based on ranking increase. Basically, what we have here today is I took a look at the top 200 of the new meta and looked at which Pokemon got the biggest increase from the last season, which Pokemon you maybe don't have built yet and is going to be way stronger this season. So today, let's take a look at those. And of course, if you enjoy this video and if you want to subscribe to the channel, feel free to do so. It is for free and helps me out a ton. So let's take a look here at Pokemon number 1. We will take a look at Greedent, which I honestly did not know was at 143 before, because that is actually higher than I expected. Nobody was using this Pokemon. This Pokemon is just basically a rip-off version of Forretress, which still Forretress very likely could be a bit better, but it kind of functions a little bit differently. Basically, Forretress uses Sucker Punch quite to its advantage because it's going to be able to do more fast move damage with this move, and you have better coverage with that as well. But here we have now Mudshot, which got buffed this season on Greedent. Body Slam Swift, I think, is the exact same move now, and Trailblaze is still, of course, the same as Forretress, but you're going to be able to spam those Trailblazes like crazy, and with that you end up in rank 40, and you have way more play against the current meta, which is going to be fantastic. So yeah, this Pokemon is going to be way stronger, climbing up over 100 points, 103. This is the lowest ranking increase of this video. There's going to be more to come, and let's take a look at number 2. Medicham. Made a video already about it as well, where I take a look at this one as well the last time around, but now we're gonna take a look at it again, but this time around with the actual direct, like, Medicham against meta and Medicham with the current ranking. It's number 16. Yeah, that's an increase of 115, or like a decrease in terms of rank, but it's getting better, basically, is what I want to say. And we see here the win rate, 28 wins, 23 losses, a very solid average rating increase, a lot of, really good matchups there as well in this meta itself. I find it funny because it's completely functioning differently compared to what it was before. Before it was like a counter user that was just annoying to deal with because they just counter everything down. Now Psycho Cut, of course, has more damage output, which is going to put some Pokemon more into range for Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch, but it's more of a spammy Pokemon that has a lot of charge move pressure, which is such a difference towards what Medicham was back in the day. But still, it's going to be a very good Pokemon. It's absolutely going to be meta. Like, trust me, Medicham is back. Like, it's really, really back. But let's take a look here at the next one. Forretress? Forretress got nerfed. Rock Tomb got nerfed, but Sand Tomb didn't. And Sand Tomb being a little bit more damage, it's actually increasing this Pokemon by quite a bit. But I would imagine as well it's because a lot of the Pokemon that are very good against it kind of got a bit nerfed with like the Mud Slappers. And this is going to be, by the way, the next video here on this channel is going to be the Pokemon that got nerfed the most for the season. They maybe don't want to build anymore. But here, Forretress is definitely a Pokemon that you want to have. The non-Shadow version. The Shadow version didn't change as much. The non-Shadow version went from 134 all the way up to 12. Which is a crazy increase. Being top meta now is kind of wild. Yeah, getting up that high is very, very, very crazy. Like, Forretress is going to be absolutely top meta in this season, especially because the other Bug and Steel type kind of disappeared as well in Scissor. So, yeah, Forretress is going to have a lot of play. That was the wrong button. Gallade. I find funny because Gallade is very much similar to Medicham, but so much different at the same time. Same typing. Fire, fighting, and psychic here, of course. Fire would have been funny. But you're going to have a complete different Pokemon here. Before you were running Confusion because of the fast move damage, actually the non-Shadow Gallade was better than the Shadow Gallade on the rankings, which is interesting. But now you're running Psycho Cut, and now you have access to Leaf Blade and the close combat so much faster, and you have like a ranking increase of like 182. So like, yeah, that is going to be quite solid. This Pokemon is going to be very much a bit better, but I don't think it's going to be, of course, top meta. But it's, again, like, I looked at the top 200 in terms of which Pokemon got buffed the most, and Gallade, of course, now at rank 166 is going to be quite a bit stronger, especially also for the Ultra League if you have one built for that. I do like the Shadow version of this Pokemon more, though. So if I was you, I would play the Shadow version just because you have more pressure with your charge moves. Shelgon. Shelgon got an amazing buff of 243, which is crazy, isn't it? Like, this Pokemon now all of a sudden is totally meta. Like, we have here the moveset of Twister Flamethrower, which actually gives you good coverage against Steel typing as well, which is generally something that you would struggle against otherwise. You have, of course, your very bad matchups in Clefable, Azumarill, and Wigglytuff, where you cannot do anything. You have your Steel types like Empoleon, where you cannot do anything either. And you're not the best Pokemon in terms of the stats itself. But Shelgon is now one of the Pokemon that you have to keep in mind when you're battling and when you're team building for the upcoming meta. And it's definitely a Pokemon I want to take a look at because I feel like it's such a fun Pokemon to run. I hope I have a good Shadow one that I can still build for it. Non-Shadow is better, by the way, but Shadow 1 looks just cooler. It's better for thumbnails. It's funnier. It's just funnier. So Shelgon, absolutely a Pokemon that's worth building. The combination of Twister and Dragon Breath is just crazy. Twister is very unique at what it can do because all of the Dragon type moves currently are quite expensive, while Twister isn't. It's 40 energy, which is way cheaper, and you get that super fast with your Shelgon. So interesting. I would say it's interesting. It's mostly not going to be super common either. I can't see it being like top meta, but I do think it's going to be an interesting Pokemon that you're going to see once in a while. Politoed. One of my favorite Pokemon. Honestly, one of my favorite Pokemon for the Go Battle League. And look at the ranking increase here as well. This Pokemon got buffed by like 252 points. I think that's kind of mad. And it has a different moveset now as well. You want to run Ice Beam. I do think Ice Beam is better than Earthquake on this Pokemon. Ice Beam just gives you coverage against the current meta, like especially with all the Dragon type Pokemon around. It makes more sense. And the main reason why a lot of the water type Pokemon are good is because they have Ice type coverage, which covers up a lot of the weaknesses of water, like Dragon and Grass. And so Politoed like this works out quite well. I do think that this is kind of the way to go for this Pokemon with the Ice Beam. I do think that the Shadow one is better than the non-Shadow, but here we see half Shadow, half non-Shadow on the right side, both of which are going to be very solid, and both of them definitely going to be worth it. But yeah, Politoed again wants to run Mudshot and not Bubble. I used Bubble Politoed quite a bit in the last season as well. I like this Pokemon a lot. I don't know, it's just a frog. I like frog Pokemon, I like Greninja, and Politoed is just a good Pokemon to run right now. Also very good save, by the way. Pelipper. One of the Pokemon that I thought would get a ginormous buff, and they did get a ginormous buff, which you see here as well. Pelipper is going to get up to 115, so like that's an increase of 304, and that is perfect. That's just a really good Pokemon now. It's very spammy. Wing Attack Weather Ball is a deadly combination, like we had this before. It got nerfed then as well, but this Pokemon I think even won regionals and whatever. Like this Pokemon was really good before. The issue for this Pokemon is mainly that it doesn't have a great secondary charge move. Hurricane is fine, like it is a nuke move at the end of the day. It does do some sort of damage, but it's like not up to where most of the current secondary charge moves are for the current meta. So Pelipper itself, if it gets another update as well, it's going to be top meta, but it's already going to be very interesting. And Hurricane is definitely solid. But like, for example, if it would get access to the charge move of Fly, it would be so much better. It would be so much stronger. But still, Hurricane is alright on this. Weather Ball Water is definitely very solid on it, with the Wing Attack now being buffed. Going to be an interesting Pokemon. I didn't expect this Pokemon on this list here, especially not that low down. But Pidgeot is getting access to Wing Attack, and with that, this Pokemon is going to be quite a bit better now. Yeah, Wing Attack is the only thing that changes here. You would have Heat Wave as well as an option, but apparently Brave Bird is just better because it just have more damage output there. And Air Cutter is kind of something that you need to have for baiting. I do think that this is kind of more of a sim hero. I don't think it's going to be as strong actually when you play it. But I do think that Pidgeot itself is going to be still a very solid Pokemon. Here again, very nice rating increase of like 373. So that's going to be quite a good buff for Pidgeot. Articuno should be the second to last one for this video. And this is the second to last buff that we have here today. This is going to be crazy rating increase because I didn't really know that it's only ranked 634 with only 8 wins currently. And with Powder Snow, it gets up to rank 195 with 31 wins and 20 losses. This Pokemon is now actually fantastic, which is hilarious because I didn't really expect this at all. But Articuno is going to be very solid. I found also funny that all 3 birds got buffed, kind of Articuno, Zapdos as well as Moltres, even though most likely Articuno is the only one that you're going to see with the buff. You can use Zapdos with Heat Wave as well. Moltres itself just isn't really that great, sadly, even though it got access to Fly. Would have needed something like Drill Peck if it would have learned it, which I don't think it does. So yeah, it's sadly not going to be buffed anytime soon unless you give it like Incinerate or something. Don't know. But yeah, Articuno, good Pokemon. Very good Pokemon. Big buff on this Pokemon. And now the final one for today's video is going to be Noctowl. I did not think that Noctowl would get that much of a buff with a Wing Attack, but look at this. That this is now in the top 100 from being at 572. Yeah, main reason for this is I think actually Shadow Ball mainly, because Shadow Ball is such a good move. Like you have very nice bulk with Noctowl. It's a bulky bird, which you don't have a lot of times. But you have Shadow Ball, which got buffed recently last season already. And this changes quite a bit because Shadow Ball is just such a strong move. You have a very good typing here. You have nice bulk. And then you have Sky Attack still for stab coverage. But I do think that Shadow Ball maybe is even stronger than Stab Sky Attack. It would need to be raised. I'm fairly certain it is. So yeah, Noctowl mainly here for the Shadow Ball spam with a very bulky Pokemon here itself with an interesting typing. But this is going to be it for this video. Those are the top 10 boss of the season. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think the season's going to be fun? Do you think the season's going to be kind of the same as before? I'm not too sure. Like, there's a lot of nerfs as well coming up, which is going to be the next video on the channel. So if you want to see that, follow for more, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.